Yo, we live? Think so. What's going on, boys? Back at it again. Going to calculate exactly how long it takes to get to your goal. Right? If you're starting out at 25% body fat, whatever, exactly 30%, whatever it is, this is what you can do. You can drop in your stats, and we can figure out exactly how long it's going to take for you to get shredded, to get to 10, 12% body fat. And finally, reveal the abs. Because if you can't see your abs right now, it's definitely because you're too high in body fat. So what we want to do is figure out exactly what's holding you back. We need to figure out exactly why, you're not at 10% body fat. And so to do that, you got to calculate. You got to calculate the macros. It's the only way. The macros and just like you're weighing yourself consistently. You got to be consistent with the macros, consistent with weighing yourself, all of that. But let's see here. Let me first show off. Yeah, right here. Exactly what it takes. First step is to figure out what body fat you're at and what you need to be at. And I'll be honest right now, 10% is the best. That's where you want to be. That's where you start to see some good benefits. You start to get super chiseled. Abs are popping out. You're lean, you're toned. Your abs are like just sculpted. You look like a Greek god when you're at like 10, 12%. So that's really what you should be aiming for. It's not easy, but it's where you're gonna have the most confidence, where you're gonna like just look like you're on steroids. That's the whole goal, right? The whole goal is to look like you're on steroids without actually taking steroids. And the way you can do that is by getting super lean. But you want to figure out, what your starting point is and how long it's gonna take to get there. So, boys, guys, drop your stats down below in the chat. Your weight, your height, what body fat you're at, and I'll calculate. I'll see how long it'll take for you. Depends on the person, obviously if you're starting out like right off from a bulk and you're like 20-25% body fat, definitely will take longer, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. There's multiple ways you can go about it. You could do like a mini cut. You could take more time with it, which is what I recommend for 100%. If you've got a lot of body fat to lose, it can't just happen in like 1 month. It's gonna take a bit longer, probably more like 3-6 months. That's where you can really notice a huge difference. And you just gotta stay consistent with it. First, you gotta figure out what works. But what I see most people go wrong is they just starve themselves, cut calories down too low, and then weekend comes around, you let loose. It's not consistent progress, and it is very hard. So the thing you need is just a sustainable approach. You just need something that you can stick to day after day, week after week, instead of failing, cheating. Like cheat meals, totally cool, but cheat days, oh no, you're cooked. You don't want to be doing cheat days. You definitely want to be doing cheat meals as long as they're controlled. They're measured. They're not over the top. That's the best thing to do. So yeah, if you're looking to get to that limit, get to that next level, drop your stats down below. Let's go. Let's figure out who actually needs to get shredded. And I'm curious, who's cutting right now? If you're cutting, or if you're bulking, drop it down below in the chat. I assume everybody's trying to cut, right? Because it's summer. I mean, who wants to go to the beach? Who wants to go to the beach with some love handles, right? It's not fun. It's not what you want. You want to go to the beach looking like a Greek god. It's hard when you're not shredded. It's hard to take off your shirt when you've got a beer belly. I can't lie. Right? Ideally, You just want to look like this guy, right? You want to look like the guy who's who's 10% or 15% when you go to the beach. And I used to be the guy. I used to be like 15%, but or I used to be like 20%, but I had no muscle mass, and it was very hard. It was very hard to go to the beach and take off my shirt. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do it, and it makes a massive difference when you can go and you're like completely confident, not insecure, right? So that's what you got to do. You got to lock in because summer is here. There is no time to be wasting. Not at all. But it can happen pretty fast as long as you've got a clear, consistent plan. Oh, yeah. You can get shredded pretty quickly here. Like for me personally, if I put in my stats right now, I'd say I'm about 188. Probably more. I could say like 16 or so. I'm trying to get to 10%. Yeah, 19 weeks. 19 weeks. If I take things slow, if I'm realistic about it. Will a cheat meal every 3 weeks ruin my physique? No, not at all. You could have a cheat meal every week, and you'd be fine. But like, I see, what type of cheat meals are you having? Because if your cheat meals are huge, I mean, there's a limit to it, Like if your cheat meal is fried chicken and ice cream and a cake, yeah, it's probably gonna be a bit too much. But if your cheat meal is just like one cheeseburger, diet soda, hey, you're locked in. You're going. You're chilling. Just depends. Like, like a burger and a pastry. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Do you know how many calories that would be? Because really, that's the most important thing. As long as you stay in a calorie deficit, you stay consistent with that, you'll be able to drop, body fat while still having fast food and enjoying the favorite foods you like. But it all depends if you can track your calories. Roughly 1,500. Yeah, that is a lot. That is a lot for one meal. That is pretty tricky. You might be able to, yeah, like you might be able to make that work, but yeah, yeah. Then I would say, I mean, if you are gonna do that, try and get extra cardio and try and get extra steps, so you're burning more calories and try and like fast as well. 100 deficit daily. That might not be steep enough. I typically recommend at least 200, 300. Okay, you're training twice a day. There you go. That'll help a ton. How much weight have you been losing so far? Like each week, would you say? Has it been fairly consistent, or have you like fallen off, or is it like inconsistent? Because what you want to aim for is this right here, 0.5%. If you're still eating burgers, pastries, and you're dropping 0.5%, hey, you're doing it right. You're doing it right. But if you're eating burgers and pastries and it's like stalled out, your weight's not moving, you gotta switch something up. Gotta figure out what's gotta switch something up in the diet or the training to make sure you're dropping at least 0.5% each week. That's the way to do it. I don't think it's realistic to completely cut out burgers and pastries. I don't think it's realistic, to cut out the favorite foods you enjoy. I think it's realistic to still have the favorite foods, but make sure you're hitting that. You're making that constant progress. You did an aggressive cut from January, and you dropped 25 pounds. Let's go. 25 pounds, was that in 1 month? That's insane. That is insane. But if you're still not satisfied with where you're at, no, it wasn't in 1 month? Okay. How long did it take? But yeah, if you're still not satisfied, I would just go with a sustainable cut. Like a moderate cut. That way you can build more muscle and drop body fat at the same time. 5 months. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. That's like perfect pretty much. That's a good amount to the point where it's not like too intense, to the point where it's too unhealthy and you're losing muscle. That's a good amount right there. But what about now? Has the progress, like, has it slowed down the weight loss? Who's this guy standing behind you? What are you talking about? Nobody's standing behind me, man. Nobody. It's just me and this body fat calculation right here. But I will say, if you are starting out at one of these, you gotta lock in. If you're higher than 20%, gotta lock in. You gotta hop back on the cut. You don't want to bulk if you're over 20% body fat. The punching bag? There's nobody behind me. That's crazy. You could see a punching bag? Yo, that's crazy. You could notice that. That's wild. But now there's nobody back there, bro. You're trolling. You're trolling. Yo, what's up, Fusuke? I don't know. I've been in a small deficit for maintenance for like the past 3 weeks. Okay. And how much weight have you lost so far? Uh, while being in that deficit? Because yeah, I would definitely ramp it up for sure if like the weight stalled out. 100. There's a balance to it, right? You don't want to go too intense, but you do want to be in a solid deficit and actually drop the body fat. But I'm doing a mini cut because I've gained a bit of fat from the holiday. That's solid. Go for it. I mean, it's definitely better to go intense at first, right? But as you get leaner, like, say you're 15%, you want to take things more slow because you're a leaner guy. It's easier to lose muscle mass as the leaner you get. It's a lot harder, going from 15% to 10%, that's pretty hard. Going from 20% to 15%, it's a little easier. It's still hard, but it's easier. How do you work out calorie intake for the bulk? TD calculator. Now, it's not perfect, but I definitely recommend doing something like this. You can ask ChatGPT. You wanna monitor. You wanna adjust your weight though. So Justin, what would you say? Like, what's your weight and height? Is 30% good at 14? Nah, bro. Nah, but if I'm being honest, too high. Too high, right? Anything above 20% is too high. You definitely want to cut down. But if you hop on the calorie deficit, you can make a lot of quick progress for sure. 5'9", 173. Nate, what are you doing right now? Are you lifting? 5'9", 32 years old, 173. Awesome. Okay. 5'9", 173. Let's see here. Boom. Yeah, so we're looking at about 2,300 calories or so. That's what I'd recommend for you, Justin. But Justin, are you doing any weightlifting right now at the moment? You must be if you're trying to bulk. Um, and what weight? Okay, 5 days is perfect. What weight are you trying to bulk to? 178. I'm not used to these centimeters, man. But let's see. Okay, so it looks like you're 5'8" and 68 kg. 5'8", 68 kg. All right, let me put that in real quick. So that's 149 pounds. Boom. What are you trying to get to then? What was it? Davis. Yeah, Davis. What are you trying to get to? Justin, you're trying to get to 205. Holy shit. You're going to be huge. Yeah, so then you would want the calorie surplus. You would probably want at least 2,800. You're probably going to have to get up to even 3,000 calories. What are you doing right now? How many calories are you on right now? If you do you know, are you tracking at the moment? I highly recommend using MyFitnessPal to track calories. That's the best one. I mean, there's other ones too, but it's just solid. I do physical contact sports, so I need to stay around 50% for athleticism. Okay. Okay, good stuff. I mean, you could definitely be leaner too and be athletic for sure. There's a limit though. Like, you don't want to be too lean. You go too lean, your testosterone goes down too low, and you don't have much energy, right? But if you're like 12%, even 10%, it's definitely harder to have energy. But you can work your way up to that. You can, adjust and adapt and get your energy levels high while being 10%, 12% for sure. I'm eating 2K calories a day, lifting weight 3 times a week. Perfect. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, you want to be within that range. So as long as you stay consistent with that, you'll see progress. What's the app? It's called MyFitnessPal. And if any of you want a nutrition guide, breaking down the best foods for building muscle, losing body fat, I've got a full nutrition guide explaining that and how to eat fast food. If you're interested, shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I'll send it over, right? Because not only do the calories matter, the food matters too. Obviously, if you're having more protein, you're having more fruits and just micronutrient, things like ground beef, eggs. Like, you're gonna feel a lot better with more micronutrients. So I highly recommend eating more whole foods. Occasionally fast food here and there, if you want to. But would you say once I've finished this mini cut, body recomp or maintenance? I would do it's called a reverse diet. A reverse diet is like the best way to transition into a lean bulk. Because then you minimize the body fat. I'm at a normal weight, but so much fat in the belly area. Yep. Love handles and belly area is the hardest to lose. That's why they call it the stubborn belly fat. So you just have to keep staying consistent with it. You're tracking already, lifting. The other thing you'd want to do is stay active. Make sure you're getting enough activity. That's going to be huge as well. Cal AI? Ooh. Here's the thing, man. I'm not a big fan of Cal AI. It's just not good enough yet. And it's not worth your money. Cal AI? Look, you can take a picture. It'll do okay. But it won't tell you it'll be off by 100. It could be off by 200, 300 calories. I don't think the AI is good enough. And you don't even need, why do you need Cal AI? You can use ChatGPT. ChatGPT literally does the same thing as Cal AI. You could take a picture of your food and ChatGPT will tell you how much it is. But MyFitnessPal is just more accurate, honestly. What website is this? It's the TD calculator. Can you guess my minimums? Yeah, drop your stats. I'll figure it out. Exactly, I see. It's where you bump up your calories each week about 100 calories or so. And then you experiment. The whole point is to just raise your calories up, boost your metabolism, while not gaining a whole bunch of fat. So it's really good after a cut. How long does it take? 4 months? Let's see. Davis, if you had to guess, what body fat are you at right now? Because this calculator will tell you exactly how long it takes for you to reach your goal. And if any of you guys want access to this, DM me on Instagram. I can send you the full link. But this will tell you, and you want to aim for about 0.51%. This, between 20 and 25. Okay, so you're at 20, 25 right now. What would you like to be at, if you had to say? Like what's your goal body fat? 10%, 12%, 15? 10% is going to be pretty hard for sure. But if you can pull it off, it'll be worth it. You'll look like a Greek god, that's for sure. Look pretty toned. Okay, you're saying 15? Yeah. Alright. So let me just say, and this can do both kilos, so you're 68 kg. Let me just do that. We'll say you're at 23%. You're 68 kgs, and you're looking to get to 15%. Boom. Now, this is going to take you, if you wanted to go slow, lose about a pound a week or so, we're looking at 25 weeks. If you were more aggressive, it could be just 12 weeks. 12 weeks. That's not too bad. That'll go by, or 13 weeks. That'll go by fast. But it's saying that you'll be at 15% body fat when you're 59.4 kg. That's how long it takes. Or that's when you'll be 15% body fat. Appreciate the follow check mark. So basically, as long as you stay consistent and you follow this, you follow like about 1%, you'll get it. You're 40%. All right, sick. Goalie, what's your goal? What do you want to be at? 15% body fat? And what weight are you as well? Need to see now what weight you're at as well. And guys, if you're on YouTube, drop the stats below on YouTube. I'll calculate you as well. YouTube is better quality, to be honest. You see everything. Because I'm live streaming on both. I'm live on YouTube and TikTok. 120 kg, okay. 120 kg. What do you want to get to? I'm assuming you want to get to like 15%. You're 40, 120, boom. Yeah, so it's looking, wait. Yeah, it's looking like this. It'll take a little longer, which makes sense. If I said 16%, or let's even say like 20%. 20%. Yeah, it'd be like 31 weeks. 31 weeks, goalie. It says, okay, yeah. 31 weeks. If you were like, super consistent with it, you followed 1%. To get to 20%, it would take 31 weeks. So that's not too bad. But like, goalie, what are you doing right now? Are you doing any weightlifting in the moment? Davis, you're doing 3 times a week. Perfect. All you need is 3 times a week. People overcomplicate it. They say you got to train 6 days, no rest days. Nah, your body needs to rest. So as long as you can do 3 days, you can make really good progress. But you also want to make sure you're getting 10K steps walking. Super important as well. Do you mind? Got you, man. 5 times a week, push, pull, legs, upper, lower. Perfect. That's one of my favorite splits. Do you know how many steps you're getting? Because if you do that, how many calories? Depends on your weight and height. If you tell me your weight and height, I can figure that out. Been training 4 times a week. Used to go 6 days. Just train like my monster saw you will blow up. Breach knows what's up. He knows what's up. Yeah, wasn't 6 times a week just a bit too much? Because I used to do that as well. When I was in high school, I did 6 times a week. Now, I don't know, man. Body can't really recover, and I've seen better results training slightly less. Still training hard, high intensity, but training slightly less and focusing on progressive overload. Apple or Garmin? I have the Apple Watch. I've never tried the Garmin before. How bad is it to see? How bad is it if I'm skipping legs, just doing push pull? Oh, you're. My dad does the same thing. He'll run and he'll say that counts as training legs. But if we're being honest, running is not really training your legs. You're getting cardio, but you're not building your legs. You definitely want to make sure you're training legs. I would do either full body 3 times a week or like a push pull legs. So I would highly recommend, getting some leg action in there for sure. You don't want to have chicken legs, right? If you want to be super aesthetic, I mean, most people don't really see your legs, but still, it's definitely important to train the legs. 185. Let me see what that is in feet. You have 0 potential? What are you saying, John Wick? You saying I have 0 potential? What are you talking about, bro? I have so much potential. Everybody in this chat has so much potential right now watching. Because everybody here is looking to get better results. You already have more potential than the average person. That's what I'm saying. Oh, Zeta. Wait, what does that mean? Do 3 times a week, four exercises to failure, 20 minutes cardio, 10K steps. Let's go. That's perfect. That's pretty solid. 4 exercises, interesting. I would do slightly more. I would say you could probably do about like 6 exercises. It takes me about an hour to do six exercises, but 4 exercises, I mean, that's plenty as well. Like, you'll definitely be making, solid gains from that as well. I'm blasting shit to look natty. Oh my goodness. What is your cycle? Strength through the roof. Text you for sure. Okay, Davis, make sure. Do you have Instagram though? Because I can only send these guides on Instagram. TikTok doesn't let me. Oh, my bad, goalie. I forgot. 264, and you're 6 feet. All right, so let me check this out. 264. You're 6 feet. Boom. We're calculating it. Yeah, so I would recommend about 2,700. If you, yeah, 2,700, 2,500 is probably going to be where you want to be at. What's your IG? It's the same thing as this. If you just click the link in my bio, it should give you my Instagram. Or if you're interested and you want anybody who wants more like tailored advice, you want a program, you want to be held accountable, fast track your progress, fast track your results. I do have a coaching application. I do have spots available for coaching, but you got to be serious if you want to do that as well. So yeah, if you're interested, check out the one-on-one coaching application in the bio. If you want these guides, just DM me on Instagram. 2,500, really? That's too little. For you, for your size, 2,200. I mean, it's not too little, but yeah, you're going aggressive, which is fine if you can maintain your strength. If you can't maintain your strength, if you're going to bed hungry, if you're not sleeping 8 hours because it's too little calories, then that's going to be a problem. But goalie, if your strength is going up in the gym, you're recovering great, then keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing 2,200 calories. 500 milligrams of test. Holy shit. Breesh, how old are you? If you're still a teenager on test, that'd be hilarious. You do 1 hour gym. Okay, perfect. 4 exercises give me 40 minutes. That makes sense, because me, it takes me about like an hour to do 6. So that's pretty perfect. What's your goal? Are you trying to drop body fat right now, Big Zo? Because biggest thing will be the calories, to be honest. It sounds like your training is pretty good. So the biggest thing that's going to help you lean out, reveal the six pack and things like that is definitely going to come down to just your calorie intake, staying consistent with that, and adjusting. Drop body fat, 1,800 calories, 200 grams of protein. Damn. Okay, good stuff. What's your weight and height? Like, how much of a deficit do you think you're in right now? Because that's definitely intense for sure. I mean, it's not too intense. I'd say man, once you're on 1,500 calories or below, it's like too little. For most people, depends on what you're trying to do. But for most people, you don't want to be in an intense deficit like that. And there was a guy, he did a 1,000 calorie deficit for a month, and he did lose 10 pounds, which was super impressive. But the thing is, his testosterone dropped a lot, which is part of it. But I would highly recommend cutting and focusing on, keeping your testosterone high while you cut, instead of risking your testosterone. Because it'll just be a lot harder. It's a lot harder to do a mini cup. Holy shit. 20 pounds in a month. And it's a lot easier if you're coming from, a higher body fat percentage. If you're starting out and you're lean, It's definitely more risky, but that's good stuff, Mala. What are you doing right now? Are you still cutting? You're at 1,000 calories a day. Lost about 10 pounds in 2 weeks. That's insane. Holy shit. Okay, my question for you guys though is, how is your strength in the gym? Are you keeping your strength while you're in like this 1,000 calorie deficit? Because the main concern I have is if you drop too much strength, right? Because we don't want to lose muscle while we cut. You know, then you just get this skinny physique. It's not what you want. You wanted that toned, you know, aesthetic, um, athletic build, and you'll want some muscle mass as well. I was never fat, just wanted to look better. My strength was the same, but I'm not trying to gain. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. I'm losing strength when my muscle looks bigger. Ooh, okay. That could be because you're just getting more lean, you're getting more toned, and when you're higher in body fat, you're kind of soft. You're not chiseled. So it makes sense that you look bigger because of that, but I would definitely try not lose too much strength, like a little bit, especially on your compound movements, bench press, squat. That can you can easily drop some strength, as long as it's a little bit though. But like on things like your shoulder press, tricep extensions, I would not want it. Like I would really recommend trying to even increase your strength, at least maintain it. For the most part, the more strength you'll maintain, the more muscle you'll maintain. Um, with good form and everything like that. And a lot of people, what they do is they try and switch up their training. They try and do like higher reps, less weight to like tone the muscle. Doesn't work. The whole point of cutting to keep your muscle will be keeping that strength high. That's going to be the biggest thing to focus on. And I've it's happened to me in the past where I've cut and my bench press, it drops like 30 pounds and I just look smaller. Just don't look the best. But when I've been able to maintain my strength or even build it while cutting, I just look a lot bigger while getting leaner. So if you can, it's not easy. And when you're in a deficit, it's really hard. It's like way harder. But if you can keep that strength high, you'll just look better. You'll look bigger and leaner. That's the best way to go about it. That's why I'm not a fan of the super intense cuts if you lose your strength. Since I started my calorie deficit, my chest has jumped to 15 pounds at 35. What do you mean? Your chest press. Good stuff then. Good stuff. Yeah. Some people it works great because the main thing is your sleep. If you do an aggressive cut and you can still sleep 8 hours, you're going to be able to gain some strength. It's going to be a lot easier. You're going to recover better. But a lot of people, they'll do an aggressive cut and they run into issues where they can't, they have a harder time sleeping, and that is super underrated. It makes a massive difference, your sleep, if you're trying to build muscle and even lose more fat. Like you need to be sleeping, getting good quality sleep if you want to lose more fat for sure. So keep doing what you're doing if you're able to keep that strength. And if any of you want more help with this, figuring out a tailored plan with nutrition and training, fast tracking your progress, just being held accountable to make sure you're not stuck or in another plateau, apply for coaching, link in bio. If you want this guide here, if you want the full nutrition guide breaking down the best foods to eat for fat loss, building muscle, DM me on Instagram. But appreciate you boys joining. If you have more questions, hit me up on IG. It's Brent Bertype. Let's go. Your sleep is fire. You sleep 10 to 7 hours. That is insane, man. That is insane. 10 hours is crazy. That's good quality stuff. I'd say 8 hours is best though. But yeah, peace, chap. Ending it here. See you, boys. Let's fucking go. W stream.